Alright. Mic's on, everything's working. Hello everyone, my name is Xanmoas, and today we're playing Final Fantasy XIV Part 2 of the ENDWALKER expansion. Now, as we last left off, it was actually a week ago since I'd done this. So my memory's a bit hazy. We arrived in Sharian to try to investigate the Sharian reason why they aren't helping with the end of days, essentially. And we reached a crossroad where we have to pick. Well, not exactly pick, we can grab both of them at once, but you have to travel. That's the point of it. So yeah, I'll grab them both, then do the one in Sharian first. Choose, huh? An unsettling change has come over Sharian, but together we will define the underlying cause of the form's careless. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the counselors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharian archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day, but now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. As we convene outside Domion, shall we? Exit the annex to the right and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Cool. Alright, Vanquid, your turn. Team Badass Boys. And a guy that wears a dress. Just kidding, you, Jay. Oh, this one actually is cutscene. I have Krile's instructions in hand. If you're ready to set out, then so are we. I've been to Foundland before. I can travel by Aetheryte, but what of the rest of you? Another sea voyage would waste time we do not have. Krile was of the same mind, and has always secured the aid of the good folk of the Confluence. We'll take ourselves there. Uh-oh. Confluence, thou sayest? I'm afraid so, my friend. Thou wilt recall the hunt for Ice Hut, unto whose sanctuary we delivered thou owing to the knowledge of our comrade Mobrita. Mobrita was an authority on ethology, a field of study she did embark upon in pursuit of her parents' example. Both are authorities in their own right, and both are researchers at the conference. Haven't you gone to see them yet? God, it's hard to do a voice for him. I attempted to do so earlier, but to my shame, my courage had failed me at the last, as it have the many times I fought to reach out to them after sending that faithful letter. Neither time nor introspection has revealed unto me the words I should speak, and thus have I kept my silence. Whether you come with us or no is your choice and yours alone. If it's too difficult, we'll manage. Thou art kind to say so, but I have no intention of forsaking our cause. I shall go to the conference, and I shall face that which have long been overdue. It is settled. Then let us be off. When we arrive, we should look for a researcher named Kite, something like that. Let's check the map. And we already have side quests. Oh joy. Side quests. I guess we should check them out. because I'm gonna need the experience in order to unlock some stuff. I don't want to hit roadblocks during a live stream. That would just be weird. But when the time comes, I'll probably edit them out. How long must I wait? Oh, forgive me. I was just thinking out loud. I made plans to meet my paramour, you see, but the time of our rendezvous is long past. As a member of the forum, his work keeps him ever so busy, even more so than usual in recent days. Still, he promised he would put some time aside for me, for us. I don't suppose your wanderings will take you anywhere near your kept site today, would they? I need someone to check if he's there, while I stay here just in case. Thank you ever so much. My tiny sweetheart is an Uri man. Brown hair, serious mane. Should you happen to spot him, pray convey the state of my rapidly mounting impatience. Not down there, huh? My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of Numeon, Xiaoyan's greatest collection of books and tomes. The building's actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numeon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. Vast halls of the Great Guba Library pale in comparison to Numeon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Xiaoyan is free to enter and pursue its shelves, but most of its shelves, only archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. I dispatched your store and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alisaie and Alphano will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you're only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. And so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Xiaoyan history or foreign policy. The task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I told the others to meet us at the stone beach benches over there once we found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Oh god, I gotta read books. This is not a job for the Royal Light. Royal Light cannot read. Joking. What the? Ah, it's a mammoth. A mammoth with cool hair. Title on the spine reads The Story of Xiaoyan. Read the book. Long ago on an island to the northern sea, there lived a Rogian man by the name of Nuncrept. Nuncrept was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperial realm. The flood would ride as foretold, and to the horror, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nuncrept's crew hauled aboard his ark. But the danger has not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. Only moments to spare, Nuncrept wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety aboard atop Aborea's spine. Chiefs from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nuncrept gathered his crew and his grateful passengers and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed to the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern seas. They landed on the beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Xiaoyan we live in to this day. God, that was very wordy. Roads of Old, the colony. Many years ago, on the banks of the Falek in the Dravinian hinterlands, a Xiaoyan convoy once fired. The settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Erosia found the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further annuated with Erosian students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Shalians. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what has become a flourishing town as an official Shalian colony. Erosian residents took to calling the colony itself Shalian, which led to no small amount of confusions when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Shalian inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as an emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Eldershire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent features of Eldershire. The book does not appear to contain additional information on the Forum or cover the history of the Shalian motherland in greater detail. Okay. Blue-covered book. An introduction to the heavens. Have you ever gazed to the skies and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of the shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the trickling tapestry of the night. Some think that the dome above us to be an infinite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of the boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Alag who come closest to understanding the laws which govern the starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past, that positions continue to shift almost impeccably, but immeasurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock to you to learn the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? This book is on the wrong subject. Search for works which contain details on the Forum or mention the history of Shalian. No, I didn't notice that one. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Shalian, civic policy and other matters of report were decided at the Alisaie, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. The larger number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Shalian would transition to a new form of governance. The nation will now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum, as we know today, conceived and created. God, there's a lot of books. Well-worn manual. Forever Dritty Summons. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed the rest of your body as you should? I too had once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19, or 23, or 40, whatever age you are in when you discover this manual. Let that be the age that you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your chosen research. Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of obtaining one's physical condition from a biological, ethological, and arcane viewpoint. Yeah, one book. Time-worn tome. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the Sixth Elmbull Calamity, Archon Nukrept, founder of Shaolin, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on the island in the northern empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Shaolins took to heart the words of their savior and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came true training. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth and coin, and the more the wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter what trials or tribulations of the age, the citizens of Shaolin would live by the founder's teachings. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. You gain the fundamental understanding of Shaolin history and the foundational form. Head outside to the window viewpoint and await your companions. Cool. That was a lot of talking. So there. Should get that first. I'm pretty sure I never bounded with that one yet. Now change yourself to all Ethernet shards. Cool. I'll just go there. Is this one voice acted? Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alphanold and Krile should also be along shortly. I was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archon stacks mentioned the final day specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skip through as much as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants and ask how things were. It seems our dear father instructed the staff that even if Alphanold and I were to return to Shaolin, we were not to be allowed access to the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. Hope that our efforts to understand his position and that on the form will perhaps lead to reconciliation. We'll mend this with one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Shaolin, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ishabad, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Kovos, the coastal region opposite the island of Bauland. The Argons founded a city in that fertile land. and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Mikroti to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the fifth calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Kovold braved the journey back to Elosia. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they may prevent the remnants of Aragon technology from being misused. Isn't Kovold under Gallian rule? For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces. Galamol renamed the region Locus Amonos. I don't know if I said that right. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Danis. House Danis demonstrated a singular interest in Aragon civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices have been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Aragon Eye no longer passed to our eldest children reliably as it once had. Fatal discovery eventually tipped the scales, and this decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alag. As the last child born with the Aragon Eye, I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Boldason, who had me registered as a Sharian citizen. I never had even considered. Forgive me. It was an unkind question. Even Frankrid was taken in by Archon Uosaw, was he not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Sharians than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perplexity, whatever. We outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. It's exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here, I never got reason to get to the bottom of this form's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway in these books, Victoria. More company should be arriving any moment now. I gotta wait again. We return with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Krile has already fickle through even history books devoted of disasters, and more than a few which Barry made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral Calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one who didn't witness the events of Amalot firsthand, and fear I may be overlooking critical details. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the skies, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of my knowledge, however, most techniques were not preserved or passed on. The Stoa summarizes that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which held the approach of the final days? Ah, yes, the Amon spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course. Thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. It seems that each and every one of the catastrophes were preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually, it resounded all across the star, and not even Xanmoas was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom? It must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I have to speak with one of Numeron's members and ask after any books that made mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definite action did they take? They summoned Zodiac. Yes, with Labyrthos serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set alight. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Light sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls intended to render onto Zodiac a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones assaulted by the primal. Or might have Finat and her followers not manifested the opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Tephoi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with those towers of theirs. Is forcing people to summon primals a kind of catalyst? Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magic? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? This is all pointless conjecture at this point. Let's return our attention to form, shall we? We should keep our eye out for the Stoa, but it's time we began studying these research papers. Ugh. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with the most recent events. We can find anything to better inform the form's baffling behavior. What else do I know of Kovos? Precious little, I am afraid. I'm not returned since Master Garloff first brought me here. I can tell you that Kovosi rebels still seek to slip the look of the Imperial Masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets, flying carpets. The legends are quite extraordinary. Many form members are also researchers or professors. If they know aught of the final day, then that knowledge might surface in their writings. That is my hope anyway. It really is comforting to have all these dedicated assistants on hand. Right then, enough chatting, more reading. Waiting. I know the stream's choppy, but OBS and that's fine. I hope it's not the case when you watch it later. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books. I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Yuanjie learned of the source's reflections from the Juran oracles was potential to cause panic and confusion. That tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Gobu Library. It's even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final day, will be left sitting on the shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Forgant, with knowledge of the Tefroi and their machinations. He scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the form would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the form's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty, whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. Let me leave. I'm not a reader. I'm a warrior. He's also master magic and scholar, but still. You labor what feels like ages as the store's research assistant. Oh great, I'm assistant now, am I? Thank you for your help, but I think I can manage the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd steal a few quiet moments for myself. Oh dear, you look exhausted. What of your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. Should you wish to read them again, our man at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Okay, so I got boots. Level 1515. Why not? Keep the weapon though. Yeah, not bad, but I think I prefer my grammar. Was it? There it is. Ready for a tea break, Victoria? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know, though, I stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Okay, so I was invited to tea. In the meantime, I got these other crests. I'll try and do them one at a time so I'm not, like, mixing up the story. Like, get confusing later. I will go ahead and grab this. I think it's a hunt thing. So it should be quick. Do my eyes deceive me, or are you Victoria Gladios? Oh, as I live and breathe, it is you. Ha! I knew I'd be able to track you down. Who's the guild ship's top hunter now, eh? Wait, you have heard of guild ship's hunts, yes? Not so different from the hunts you're familiar with in Orosia, as I understand it. I wager they rather more challenging, but an adventurer of your caliber would never turn down a challenge, would you? No, you would not. Pray speak to Norfrita at the pre-style to register your interest at the earliest convenience. Yeah, I thought so. I'll grab these ones as well. Chances are they're gonna be down here. Oh, there's another one down there. Light quests can be easily overburdening. Especially in Shadowbring is where there was like, you do one main story quest and all of a sudden you got 20 side quests popping up. Hello friend, are you new Sharian? You have that look about you. I thought as much. Oh, I'm not bothering you, am I? I so rarely meet travelers from beyond our shores and couldn't pass up an opportunity to broaden my horizons. And I assume a visitor such as yourself is eager to do the same? If you're interested in learning about the city's history, for example, then I know the perfect person to give you an impromptu lesson. Head over to the Scholar's Harbor and keep an eye out for the black-haired Road Guardian. That will be my brother. He'll know the tale of any pillar and statue you care to point at. I would be more than happy to share it with you. Are you one of the adventuring types I heard so much about? Oh, but this is perfect. I just so happen to have an errand for that kind of adventures, or so I'm told. Oh, onto some volumes my customers ordered in, but instead of coming to pick them up, they all decide they want their goods delivered. So I find myself in need of a delivery person. Might that be you? So, let me give you the details then. All in all, there are 3 books on the delivery docket. The first, Ishgadian Astrology, a comprehensive theory, should be handed to the servant in Old Bright Manor. The right yonder is a certain talkative book lover who you know by the constant stream of chatter, and the last narrow road through the deep grass goes to one of the toughest, most unflappable greeners I have ever met. I just marked the locations on this handy map, like so. The books are bought and paid for. No need to collect any coin, but do return to me for your own reward. Okay, one there, one there, one there. If I could ask for your help, you'll help me, won't you? You will? Good, because I'm having a problem with a runaway doll. That's right, all I did was lend him a little ether and he hopped up and dashed off down the street. Mom and Papa bought him for me as a special gift. Now I gone lost him. They'll be furious for me losing a toy I kept asking for, so please, you have to help me find him. Okay, I'll hurry home to see if he went there. And you can search the rest of the city. Oh, he's a yellow carbuncle doll, by the way, and I think he's just heading south. Anyway, meet me back here if you have him, or you know, you just give up. Finding a doll, huh? Welcome to Old Bright Manor. Do you have an appointment? Here's your book. Ah yes, one copy of Ishgadian Astrology, a comprehensive theory, just as his lordship requested. I must confess to some confusion, however. What interest would his lordship, an esteemed practitioner of Shalian astrology, have in such an outdated Ishgadian discipline? Not that I'm in a position to question his lordship's reading habits, of course. Ahem. On your way then. Here's one up there. Then I'll use one of these teleports to go back there. Then down here. Find a yellow carbuncle doll. Lifelike expressions aside, it appears to be otherwise motionless. Let the journey's end and deliver him to the mischievous boutique girl. He wasn't there. I don't think I'll ever see him again. Whee! You found him, just like Big Mooney would have. Oh, that's why I call him the neighbor who used to play with me. She was so tall and smart and always so nice. She told me stories about her friend, a powerful wizard who could summon his very own carbuncle companion. That's why I wanted one for myself. I have to learn how to move him around better, though, so that when Mooney comes back, she'll see how hard I've been practicing my magics. Oh god. I think I know who she's talking about. Ooh. This is for you. Papa said that when someone helps you, you have to show your gratitude. So thanks for helping finding my carbuncle. Bye. And you give me pants? Girl just gave me pants. How weird. Grammar. 5. Apply. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that a lot, by the way. Assuming the next item sets are not like that. Wait, did I miss it? Oh, there. Something I help you with? This is my book? Good. I need it for my journey. I usually don't have a great deal of time for reading, but as I'm leaving for off-hard on requisition duty, I wanted to do some research on Far Eastern cultures. I know little of these people of the Asm Steppe. It says here that there are 51 distinct Sela tribes, each with their own customs and traditions. The Bulgar, for example, are exclusively male, and are known for kidnapping male outsiders to replenish lost numbers. Is this accurate? I need to tread carefully, it seems. Thank you for the timely delivery. Good luck not getting kidnapped. Hi, I'm Northfart. Have you come to place a bounty on an unruly beast? Quite a scholar. You're Victoria? I was half convinced I sent the others on an impossible task, asking them to find you. Green's guild ship has begun posting hunt bills, you see, in the hopes of that capable individuals to take up arms to lighten our ever-increasing load. Unfortunately, capable individuals remain the sticking point. Few hailing from our fair polis are willing to take up arms, let alone able to stand against the most fearsome specimens. You, however, have the experience and the grit that we need. When I heard that you arrived on our shores, it was music to my ears. You didn't work for free, of course. We've done our research, and the rewards we offer are as fine as you'll find aboard. The currency we employ is a relic of times when Greener was a great deal less figurative, so you'll find it somewhat aesthetic, but it is as good as any guild here. Speaking of aesthetic, you should be noted that the majority of our clients are scholars. You probably won't have heard of half the creatures they send after you. But I find it's best not to worry about that over much. Slay beasts, collect samples, try not to think of the long-term events of touching said samples, and get paid. Simple, no? That being said, I wouldn't dream of throwing you into the deep end just yet. Let's have you start off with some junior monks so you get your feet wet. Okay. Yep. That's typical hunt stuff. Guess I'll go over there and get the last quest. You know, it's times like these I wish I can ride a mount. I will say the EXP is not that bad considering. Yes, was there something I could help you with? Ah, my dear sister, you say. Well, she did indeed send you to the right man. Well, who better to teach you about Shaolin history than a stadium certified history professor? Here, take my spyglass. Go on, take it. No time like the present to learn about the past. You shall begin your education with the fine Paulik, the scholar himself. I wonder there's some secret I can look at. No secret? No secret. If you learn your history, you will know the Sixth Umbral Era brought a catastrophic flood to the lands of Eorzea. Yet when all seemed lost, the 12 Archons rose up and saved multitudes from a terrible fate. Of those 12 was the Archon Eurocrypt. I can't read that word. Who brought our ancestors here in his ark, and together they founded what was to become the great nation of Sharian. The beach at the foot of Falek's statue is the very spot where those first Sharians made land. Imagine how they must have felt on the day, some 1600 years ago. Mythology tells us that Falek bore a magic pitcher from which poured forth the waters of knowledge. See how the water is drawn up from the canals and cascades endlessly into the sea? As well as recreating the defined era from the tale, it also symbolizes the wisdom which rises from our city and flows out into the world. If you'd like to learn more about the mechanism by which it works, stonemasons who built it left records of the struggle in the archives of Noromion. A rather challenging construction by all accounts. The statue is a representation of Falek, one of the 12 divinities of Eorzea, and guardian deity of Sharian as the god of knowledge. He rules over rivers of wisdom. There was once a system of governance in Sharian known as the Alisaie, a great gathering at which each citizen was given a voice in decisions affecting the nation's future, and it was during one such forum where the people voted to elect Falek as our patron. It was not piety which drove this choice, but rather a natural progression of our principles and creeds. We Sharians have, after all, always devoted ourselves to the pursuit of knowledge. Ugh. So much wordy Chris. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the introduction of Sharian historical architecture. If you were to do justice to the towering Falek, however, there is one last snippet of knowledge that we simply cannot overlook. Come along, to the foot of the statue. Please, no, I just got here. Okay, good. What do you have? Beg pardon, good madam, but I could scarce help but notice the sightseeing log on your person. You wouldn't happen to be an adventurer my niece wrote about, would you? Ah, the sightseeing log. Ah, so it is you. Please to make your acquaintance. I am Babeth Einhardt, Miller's aunt and seasoned explorer. Be a dear and hand me that log of yours. You have told me all about how she helped you embark on explorations of your own, so it's only right that I share with you some wisdom of my own. Let me see here. Oh, I can't forget to mention that, and done. We should be all set, dear. I jotted down everything I heard about the most remarkable visitors the realm has to offer. Plus, a few notes I shared are not more than rumors, some describing locals so fantastical that I can barely believe they exist. But as I always say, the true joy of exploration lies not in the destination, but in the journey. Go forth, dear, and see what sort of journey these hints will take you on. That sightseeing log of yours won't feel itself, you know. Oh god. Oh, talking. Can I enter the statue? May I direct your attention to yon doors? Behind them, nestled within the statue itself, is a chamber known as the Pathless Way. Those who have acquired mastery over specialized disciplines or whose deeds have led to significant advances in the chosen fields are invited to enter such chambers and receive the title of Archon. We place great value in the pursuit of knowledge, and thus the Archons are held in especially high regard. As the embodiment of ideals, they are permitted to browse the forbidden archives and have ever stood at the center of our nation's greatest achievements. Now, as for the most secret and sacred ceremonies which award for the title, I am afraid that even I am not privy to the particulars. You will forgive me my ignorance on the subject, I hope. A scholar and a gentlewoman, and thus concludes the lesson. Should you happen to return to the same route, pray convey my warmest regards to Alisaie. Alright. You must be the last book guy. If we were to officially supply the mumble requisition quest of the Gleaners and mumble, no time for mistakes. Could probably push him in if I wanted to. My fox, Krile, where did you spring from? She grows tired of waiting? I am not sure I... Oh gosh, that was today. I was so engaged in my task that I must go to her immediately. And you must be rewarded for the service. Come along, please, quickly now, quickly. Alright, Alisaie, sorry for the wait, but we can have tea now. As busy as ever, I see. How very shocking no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions to gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Tefroy. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Another escort. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking for a spare table, to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Tefroy. These enemies of peace have promised to end to all we hold dear and... Wait, you're that House Labyrinthos girl, aren't you? And this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge the barbaric realms, and you are giving truth to the rumor. I think you'll leave me be. Not to say to the likes of you. Well, I must apologize. It's foolish of me to expect an ounce of chivalry from one so enlightened. Come, Victoria. I made myself away from you. Let me die in peace. Asshole. Yes, I don't believe I have the pleasure. Please excuse our interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Tefroy and their consensual actions, plans. My goodness, if it isn't a young Miss Labyrinthos. My apologies, but I work in the offices in the forum, and if word reached Master Foreheart that I was helping you. I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. How about you, Dickon? You gonna be a Dickon about this? It's a weird name. Welcome, madam. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alisaie I see there? My word, how long has it been? Too long. Meet Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the stadium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphonol had set sail for Orzia, but then you never came back. Anyway, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything alright at home? It's complicated, and I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, if it is House Leveray, no matter how discreet Master Forshant may have been, these are your family's doings, never stay secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all times? No questions, and only Sharian has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything of the apocalypse known as the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find? Information on this apocalypse? Alisaie, I'm a tea person. Yes, whatever you can learn, unfortunately. Your patrons seem to have unwillingly to speak to me. I wish there was more I can do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor from Sharian, aren't you? Then few will know your face. You should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea, I hate to ask, but what do you think? I guess I'm gonna play the maid. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea's set for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. The omelet is for one of the regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gissa. She's sitting on the outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a recruitee gentleman. He ordered an oven-baked lobster. Follow that. If you're not sure, just ask, and I'll explain again. Good luck. Yeah, I think I got it. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. The Tefo who? I'm sorry, I never heard of them or their final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. If you want to hear about the ritual arcane practices of the 6th actual era, common or Sonic, I'll be happy to talk your ear off. One sitting by the ocean was supposed to be the lobster. Are you guys eating food off a suitcase? If that's a serving tray, it's the largest suitcase I've ever seen. Finally, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in, no time to waste. What, the Tefaway? Oh yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand scheme about claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. When will these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. The fool made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Why is this one different? Alas, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I scribbled and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. The final days? This is the first I heard of it. Though that would explain why my friend has been washed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that haven't got here in Sharian. Prices, books, unusual life specimens, and so forth. Though named for the folk who trail after reapers in the field, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is the most meretricious and demanding profession. If the Tefaway make good on their atrocious threats, then many uncatalyzed relatives could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before, not like this. Alright, Alisaie, I got some good news. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever fake news the gazettes are printing. Dickon has nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the forum does have a secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Yeah, that cup of coffee I promised. Well, let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe we're behind the peristyle? Away from the gossips and the wagging tongues? So there, alright. Yes, this should do nicely. Oh, the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Uh-oh. Must be the Gleaners. Oh, so your father's a dick.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrithos.
Is that a dungeon?
A vast complex beneath the island. Charlian is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
I guess they're building a bunker. A safety measure. We should tell the others what we learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to New Milan and I'll join you in a moment. Master Dickon will want his cups back. Time to hand these other side quests in. You just come back from hearing one of my brother's lectures, haven't you? That's another look I'm quite familiar with. His breadth of historical knowledge is extensive, sufficient to earn him the title of Archon, he hopes. The problem is, if his contributions to the field are to be officially acknowledged, he must have written recommendations from higher-ranking professors. But in these tumultuous times, such ceremonial concerns have been pushed to one side. And so he idles away his spare moments at the harbor now, just gazing at the ocean. I thought having an eager student would light the spark, which is why I jumped at the chance to speak with you. So I apologize for not being more honest with my intentions. Please accept this gift for your troubles and allow me to welcome you once more to Xiaoyan. Oh, my sweetheart finally arrived thanks to your gentle reminder. He looks so exhausted from his endless labors. However, I sent him home to rest. I had a feeling he would be at no cramped site. They say that spur of rock was where the Aponius Archon used to sit when he had matters to meditate on. My habitual late love holds Encrypt in great esteem, both for his role as the founder of Xiaoyan and the ark he built to save people from the floodwaters of the Sixth Umbral Calamity. Thus, I have an inkling to where to look when the appointed time of our tryst has passed. In any case, I should go and be with him whilst we still have some spare moments to enjoy. Oh, you mustn't forget your reward. A little token of appreciation from the two of us. Please tell me you bought my new book. I've been waiting for what feels like ages for the latest shipment to arrive. Yes, finally. Did you know the right yonder was written by a lad of 14 years? I myself questioned how reliable such a work could possibly be, but I thought Easton, a colleague with whom I had been exchanging correspondences, say he's absolutely swayed by it. It describes the wonders of the Abrivian Sea of clouds in exquisite detail, and is by all accounts a roaring good read. The bit about the fighting Peasants is said to be especially entertaining episode, but I should let you return to your deliveries and whatnot. Thank you kindly for putting in the long-awaited treat for my ever so grateful hands. Back, Krile. Get it? Krile. Krile. Welcome back, Victoria. Last night, we did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the greeners. Makes sense? The gleaners take their requests directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the form. A sudden and significant increase in greener traffic and in cargo, it suddenly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let's see what theory we can build from these facts. As the store observed earlier, Numeron archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Victoria and Alisaie learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably assured that most Xiaoyans know nothing of this particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but they are also certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Tephoi is wholly unlike the apocalyptic events. Moreover, the form claims to be so occupied by the duty of such pressing importance that they saw unfit to unanimously deny Orosia's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it's a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrintho's and assess the situation for ourselves, and if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. I understand not everyone is a studious type. Consider this a welcome change of pace then. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your bold books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help, thank you, Aha. Let's head down the stairs over there. I'll show you where the entrance is. Ready? Labyrintho's is not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Wait, so I'm walking with her now? That's different. Now I'm being escorted. I still walk faster than NPCs. Common trait in every game. This wasn't here amongst the trees. But we really should move along. Everyone, try to keep up. Keep to the path, straight ahead. We cross this bridge. Over this way, I'm over here. Up here. Lustra, have fun now. Here we are, through this door downstairs. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It will make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. Alright. I'm gonna go hand this thing in and then go back in. Oh, safely delivered? Of course they were. Our shop is well known for carrying publications not only of Sharian authors, but from all manner of foreign chronicles and telltales, meaning every time a new shipment comes in, I'm faced with an avalanche of work. I would have been buried alive but not for your assistance today, so here's a little something to show my gratitude. Go on, you earned it. I should probably set this on my favorite. There we go. Yeah, elevators. I expected to write Chocobo up here. How did the form learn of the final days, and how exactly do they know? More to the point, what do they intend to do about it? Hopefully the answer to that, at least one of these questions lies below. You didn't take a long turn to the wash for that, did you? I doubt the form would take kindly to you barging into a private session. I've not been to the Labyrintho's in the longest time. Even as a student, my visits were few and far between. Oh, good now. Well, here now. Yes, I take the liberty of securing permission for our group's ascent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge, buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
The Northern Empty, Labyrintho's.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh or no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then. Ugh. Did you call to me just now?
No.
No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
And I'd be glad he had doing that thing again. Alright, so this is his own area with 3 of these? Really? How interesting. Yeah, help will give me a headache. Give me more headaches. Because if you don't have the look of a gleaner, then I'm no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues is so exhausted, he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have to pack of mammoths running loose. Plastic cleaners. Oh, pizza point. Let me think. Durian seeds should be item 1058. Cumin seeds 1059. Stumbleberry 1060. Or were they 1061? My head feels like it's stuffed with Marco grass. Why more loads to be taken out than carry in? Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Bavarian carrots for the Guy Arbuan carrots? Then what then? Yeah, they're preparing to make this a safety bunker in case of final days. A safe area, I guess. Hey, I am not shirking my duties. I have not been down here in ages and wish to get my bearings before I went bumbling about. From what I can see, however, that is not obviously out of place. It seems we shall have to resort to discreet queries as usual. Want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books to Nora and Fauna beneath hauling out Horde. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrintho's, you know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one a few summons ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess got dropped in our laps. Orders from on high, damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Tell me about it. Any luck, Victoria? What tales did the Gleaners have to tell? So this grand operation began without warning, and for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That will explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right, the form is definitely up to something, and they're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. We would do well to learn more of what specifically the Gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. If you're game, Victoria, I have an idea. Didn't one of the Gleaners who questioned say something about escaped mammoths? Perhaps if you were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my challenge on this Gleaner here. We can compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting. Wish to help me find mammoths? I'm nothing suitable to pay you for your service, but if you're offering out the goodness of your heart, I'm welcome to assistance. The name is Erenville, friend, specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of the Naxian mammoths is a trial I no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, they call them. For mercy, there are no other mammoth species on this tier at present. So there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in the sack gently, of course. Where to begin, you wonder? I'm not seeing any scampering about around here, so you wish to line our search into the surrounding forest. Really God, there are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a mammoth or you. Let's switch trees to the rest. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. At least I can ride mount now. Oh right, wasn't that supposed to be ether? No, ether is for flight around here. Usually is at the start of each expansion. Where am I looking for? What am I looking for? No, not that. Yeah, it did get moved. Yeah, I thought so. I'll do the quest here and then get the ether. Huh. Nice field music. And that was quick. Or not. Seriously? And the side quest even appeared. What the hell? Up there, I imagine. Yeah, behind these two. Wonder how much there is around here. Where is it? Oh, same as usual. A dozen of them. Where'd you go, mouse? Where'd you go? There you are. Gonna win again? Nope. Screw you! For the record, I can't fly until I get all these ethers, so I'm running these quests. And not run again. So I gotta grab those side quests as well. Because the faster I level up, the better. Excuse me, do you have a moment? I have an urgent task to attend to, and I could use some assistance. As a superior of the sector, I was concerned with how cool the air in Mornville Forest felt as I walked through my usual rounds. Ordinarily, it should be a touch more humid. The calls assured me that the gauges are displaying acceptable temperatures, and well, hinted that I was being oversensitive. My instincts, however, informed me otherwise. Might assist me with a more thorough investigation? Thank you. Payment will be forthcoming, of course, but first let us begin by assessing the problem from within the forest itself. How do you fare? I tracked down 3 of the pack, which leaves 1 unaccounted for. Ah, there's the odd man out. Wait a moment here while I put my friends in a holding cage. Thankfully, the mammoths seem to be unharmed. They held up well in isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing you were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my thanks. Why, they're already in charge of Labyrinthos now, and in perpetuity, the same officials who had us working day and night of late. The honorable member of the forum, who else? Suitable with consumption and easy to breed, those were the 2 conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know why the forum has planned for such creatures, but at the very least, I doubtlessly served for dinner today or tomorrow. Here you are, Victoria. This is a greener you mentioned? The one who is looking for lost mammoths? Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk, anyway? I'm Krile of the students of Botany. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the form's decision of late has not sat entirely well with us. That's why we made descent into Labyrthos. We hope that by seeing those decisions put into action, we might more fully understand their reasoning. Why is it practical? Never hurt to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture and enclosures to empty. Once again, I'm sorry that I can't offer you more for your services. Did you learn anything new from your friend here? So we confirmed that the order of this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the forum. However, the Greeners have not been informed of its purpose. I say it fits with everything we heard thus far. We also discovered the operation was begun. The forum contacted these Greeners guild ships and put their people to this great work for some 4 days after the Tefroy made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Greeners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Thus, I am inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Altogether, it gives a distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. Yet I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrthos as archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but waiting the right time to put it into effect. And the Tefroy declaration was what set it all in motion? Seems likely, but let's not leap to conclusions just yet. For a moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrthos. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to Akrion? From there, we can reach the law. Krile, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bitter headache, that's all. Nothing that will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about it, then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm very certain I remember the way to the Archeon. We followed the path east, through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or mammal, was it? Anyway, there's the trolls you need to watch out for. People really gotta stop keeping secrets when it comes to headaches. Like a very common trope. No, I'm fine. Ahem, hold there, friend. I see lending a hand to a gleaner in need. I'm very new to all this gleaning business, so it's only proper for someone with requested experience to deliver this very important Udalian academical compound to that research facility. No, the one with the short way to the rest? Why you ask? Because I have an urgent matter to attend to elsewhere. Yes, very urgent and very far from here. I will do it myself, of course, but duty calls. Just deliver this package to someone in a position of seniority, and I promise I'll be back to pay you for the favor. Okay, so there's a quest there. Excuse me, but aren't you one of the ones who assisted Erinville? If you have a moment, I could use some help with a certain task. Report, I'm to hunt down a number of Koborus, but as this is the first job I accepted which requires any degree of violence, I'm not entirely confident of how I should approach my prey. You seem like the type of woman who's seen a fair share of combat. What if I could disturb you from concealment while you gauge my target fauna? I wouldn't need you to spend all day on it, of course. 1 or 2 examples in the forest, the rest of here should be plenty. Let's make 2, shall we? I'll even pay you, please. I know there's gonna be 1 ether here. Just do this fate real quick. Not too bad. Well, that's really far south. And I guess there's no ether here. This area must be huge. May I help you? Oh yes, the Udalian compound. Excuse me, but whatever happened to the gleaner I was told to expect? I'm quite matching his description. And so here you are in his stead. I thought that might be the case. The city primarily studies small Viking and their ilk, and their role as carriers of disease. As such, it would seem to have become a subject or have rather some unsettling, not to mention wholly unsubstantiated rumors. I imagine some senior Guinea as amusing amusing himself by taunting his junior colleagues with scary half-truths and outright fabrications. He's gonna lend me patience, but the jests lead me to no end of trouble with us. In any case, I thank you for bringing me my delivery. Should you happen to turn out faint-hearted greener, please do me the service of setting him straight on what it is we do here. My throat's starting to feel the itch of voice acting too much. Or he's trying to put on impersonations. Thank you for the instruction. While I doubt I could emulate your particular style, seeing you in action was enormously helpful. You also provided a service for calling a few of the Labyrintho's more prolific animals. Issue is essential we reduce the cat rules numbers every now and again to maintain a stable habitat. And nothing here is killed for mere sport. Every part of the carcass is harvested and put to use. A practice I will make sure to carry out the creatures issue. There are still a few more that need calling, but I think I can handle that on my own now. Such is a Greenhill's lot, and I should learn how to do it sooner rather than later. Oh, and here's your payment. Wish me luck. We're back and not suffering from any horrible maladies. Well, nothing visible anyway. What's that? You think someone's been having a laugh at my expense? But the others told me. They said the researchers ordered a forbidden substance from Uda so they could conduct some sort of zombie powder, and that greeners who delivered there are often never seen again. That does sound a bit unlikely now that I say it out loud. Those lying bastards. Right, well, here's what I owe you, plus a little extra for keeping quiet. Cause above, I'll never live this down. Taking a close look at this mist sprayer, you'll find these devices throughout Mournville Forest, and I need you to see if they're functioning properly. Not be too complicated. If the sprayer's crystal is going through, then it means it's working. If the crystal is dull, then it's most likely broken. Yeah, I'll jot down the locations of the sprayers. I wasn't able to check yet. Meanwhile, I'll go and see if there's any problems at Mist Loom. That's the big tower over there, responsible for regulating the sprayers. That could be our meeting spot once you're finished taking these devices. Okay then. I should really be riding my motorbike, now that I think about it. That's working fine. Yeah, that's better. A little faster. That was broken, for sure. I've been spraying. Yeah, it's cracked. What's the habit? What's the habit? Well, the missile technicians can detect nothing away with the tower's workings. Any issues with the sprayers? Aha, so there was a malfunction after all. The sprayer's job is to keep this area blanketed with mist, to accurately simulate the moist laden air of certain forest habitats. Once broken devices had no effect on the temperature, but the humidity had fallen out of optimal range. If we hadn't caught this change, we would have started seeing adverse effects on the forest fauna and fauna. Nice work, but I didn't bring payment with me. Come back to Upper Oculus and we can settle accounts there. Faulty mist spray here. Those devices were built to last, so I'm surprised you found damaged one. Well, you do have beasts in the forest. Wait, you want me to go back there? I'll come back later. Oh, wait. Is there one around here? Not exactly. You know, it's weird seeing 3 in one area. That's not very usual. This is the foremost material archive in Shaoyan. We should love to explore the treasure shelf by shelf, but I fear we have little time for such indulgence. Were you caught in mist on the way here? The sprayers keep the air humid, so the habitat feels as close as possible to a natural forest. Don't worry about me, I'm hale and healthy. In fact, I'm beginning to suspect that... Hey, let's discuss this later. The investigation demands our undivided attention. Behold, the Archeon. As Numeron serves as Shaoyan's literary archive, so does the structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archeon contains a physical history of Shaoyan's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Well, we won't learn anything of value standing out here. Well, let's proceed into the main building and speak with the Kadoshian. Whatever. Oh god. You talk way too much. More side quests. I'm terribly sorry to bother you, but I'm gonna ask a small favor. I just saw a cleaner I had for a job and he seemed awfully well jittery. Suppose it's a word. When I tried to ask him what's the matter, he met my eyes for a moment and bolted out of the room. I should like a catalog the items he was meant to bring and get them safely stored, but I refused to pay this ridiculous game of Krile en masse. Would you mind tracking him down for me? The last I saw of him, he was dashing off towards Passamarant to Ponix. You have an air of dangerous competence, and you are the most certainly not Shaoyan, yes? Yes, you'll do nicely. But what you may ask, as the overseer of the wildlife in this sector, I often find myself in need of few new volunteers to help with the feeding. While I am perfectly content to perform the task myself, it would be unwise to allow such a carnivores to grow too accustomed to my scent, or that of any of my colleagues for that matter, which is why I'm pleased to encounter fresh meat like you. If you excuse the phrase. No. What do you say to a brief foray to the forest? You will be provided with suitable recompense. Of course. Wonderful. Take these hunks for fresh and just set them down at these locations. Hurry back as soon as you're done. Jesus, a lot of side quests. I think I'll try and avoid some of them. No, only to get the main story going. I come back for them later. Greetings, we are here to pursue the Archeon's faults. Peruse? Well, clearly not gleaners then. Might I ask for your affiliation? We belong to the students of Balderson, but is that relevant? I was given to believe that the faults, those open to the public at least, were open to public. Ordinary, yes, but that would be the case. But at present, however, access is restricted. Only persons directly involved with the reorganization efforts are permitted to enter. Not us then. I suppose we had better move along to another facility. This building has a lift which connects to the military, yes? Might we at least make use of that? That service has also been suspended, I'm afraid. For the time being, priority has been given over to the conveyance of inventory. What? Is this as far as we can go? I apologize for the inconvenience. Please come again after our restructuring operation is concluded. By that time, it will all be too late. And we're so close to getting answers. We need to rethink our approach. Let's step aside for a moment, shall we? Here's a Balderson, Very women bought access. We are at an impasse, as we have no other leads. I should like to pursue this one further. I doubt that our stone-faced Cadosian will be swayed by heartfelt pleas. We must seek another means to access the lower levels. It's likely that the people in this area are involved with the restructuring in one way or another. If we are to integrate ourselves, we might allow us to accompany them on the lift. Let's ask around. Surely someone is in need of a few strong backs to lighten the load. Am I taking the lift? Oh no, which are students? They won't let us into the Archeon, even though we found... Actually, we had no idea what it is we found. There's no record of such a creature anywhere. But it was wandering around tranquility, and so we thought to donate it to the folks. Honest little squirrel, you think? Anyway, I suppose we'll have to take care of it until the Archeon is open again. You alright? I just need to... Oh gods, what do I do? I asked the Glean to bring me a library Kobolon specimen, but perhaps I was a tad too insistent on the library part. The thing flung itself about with such force that it broke the wall of its closure and escaped. For a moment I considered chasing after it myself, then realized it would be like we'd beat my soft academic frame into a bloody pulp. You, on the other hand, seem to possess have a higher degree of fortitude. Last I saw, it was scurrying off towards Mornville Forest. Please track down and subdue our frisky fugitive, stuff it in the sturdy sack, and bring it back here to me. My humble gratitude will be yours, as well as a generous reward. What's that? Take you down and live with me? Sorry, no, but not a chance. I've been up and down all day, and only now have I found a spare moment to rest. I did see a green FL heading out the gate there, though, shouldering a large packet, engaged in some manner of task. Maybe he'll be headed down below after he's done with whatever it is he's doing. Okay, so there's one south of here. Southwest. So down there. That's helpful. And that wasn't even the right way to go, was it? Well, I could do the side quest on it. Wait, no. Get back up. Get back up. There we go. Ah, gods and scholars, so sweet of me like that. Can I help you? My employee sent you, did he? Well, he'd be pleased to know that I was able to purchase all his requested Far Eastern items of cultural significance. That pot over there was one of them, but I was simply handing it over. I think something's alive inside. You tell me where this is, yes? Ah, it's the fish guys. There, you heard that, didn't you? I knew it wasn't my imagination. You seem like a well-traveled soul. What sort of creature might we be dealing with here? Oh, you know you're Nazamu. Yes. I crawled into this comfy nookie pot for a nice nap. Before I knew it, I was whisked away on an adventure. Well, now that I'm here, I might as well make the most of my misfortune. See the sights, try the food, that sort of thing. Well, very my pot to the nearest inn, if you please. Being that our guest is so eager to stay, at least I could do is sponsor his visit and help fill out the paperwork. Meanwhile, I would appreciate it if you could explain the situation to my employer. Good old Nazamus. Always getting trapped in stuff. Oh, it's you again. Quiet, you're finding a way. Ah, it's you again. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm in the middle of another task. The crowd king I need to capture is close, very close. You wish to help me with this too? You spend your time in unusual ways, my friend. Still, 2 hunters are generally better than 1. Very well. The kennel here is a common gathering spot for birds of all kinds, but the one I'm after today is a hornbill. Its feathers are green and it cries a distinctive caw. Swing it out and shoot it with the sweeping dart. Good, I love this minigame. The effects are short-lived, so I'll wait down at the riverbank to claim our quarry. Be sure to hit the right one. Up even. It's a hornbill. Which one was a hornbill? Green bird which claws and sedate it with a dot. Gotcha.
Fair shot. Nicely done. Let me truss this one up and I'll make my way over to you.
there you are. Any new revelations? So you met with that gleaner again, this time to capture a hornbill?
Yep.
I understand catching and bringing in creatures from the outside, but what's the point of chasing after ones already here?
Oh, it's a simple thing, really. Occasionally, we remove specimens no longer needed for study, or those we've had difficulty raising. But we can't simply turn them loose. Safely returning such creatures to their native habitats is another facet of a cleaner's duties. But not in this case, I'm afraid. I've been asked to bring the bird below.
The restricted section in the lower levels of Labyrinthos. Open only to a select few researchers handpicked by the Forum. The projects down there are the subject of rumor and hearsay. Forbidden magics. Advanced technologies that can never be allowed to fall into outside hands. Even Archons are not privy to the truth. Those who are, the researchers involved in this secretive work, are not permitted to walk freely in the city, and are instead required to live in isolated quarters.
What could a facility subject to such strict security protocols possibly need with a hornbill? An experiment?
Possibly. I wasn't afforded an explanation. But judging by the requisition list given to me and my colleagues, I doubt it's for any kind of advanced research. I'd be more inclined to believe we were making preparations to migrate to the south. Mericidia or thereabouts.
What? Why would you say that?
Much of the flora and fauna we were asked to procure could serve as reliable sources of sustenance. They're comparatively hardy species too, able to endure harsh climates. And among them are specimens known to be effective in improving soil quality and purifying water.
When you put it that way, migration does sound like a reasonable assumption.
That's all it is, though. An assumption. Through our tasks, we gleaners glimpse only bits and pieces of the Forum's plans. Our prime concern is that our requisitions, be they living or otherwise, are properly preserved for the knowledge of future generations. Now, I really must be going. I regret that I cannot reward you as you deserve.
Perhaps you might reward us after a fashion then. It is imperative that we reach the lower levels. And seeing as you are already set to descend with your assigned cargo, mayhap we could accompany you as your assistants.
I'm afraid that won't be possible. Once the animals have been prepared for transport, we send them down separately via the lift. I will of course follow after to make my report, but I can hardly pass you off as porters when there's nothing left to carry.
Indeed. Pray forget I said anything.
How do you feel about climbing? If you've strength and the courage to brave it, then there is another way down. This path leads to the 33rd facet, a mine shaft excavated during one of our expansions of Labyrinthos. While I cannot guarantee that the passage is safe to traverse, it should provide access to the medial circuit below.
Always the long way, huh?
I never even knew such a place existed. Thank you. This is the perfect solution.
You're quite welcome, but consider yourselves warned. If the going proves too treacherous, you do well to turn back. I bid you good day.
Well, turning back is hardly an option, not when we've come this far. Let's go and take a look at this mine shaft.
Just to do these other side quests on here. No, we're about to level up after all. Now it does an animation to do it? Let's do. Able to catch up with the winner? What did he have to say for himself? Are you telling me that the Nazamu are real? By the skull, I thought the stories of such beings were just that, stories. Now we have a chance to speak with one in the flesh? We must house this visitor here in the Archeon and record the conversations for prosperity. Oh yes, here. You've been very helpful. Now if you don't mind, I have preparations to make. Are you all finished with... and with a distinct lack of breeding and slobbering? This is why I prefer mercenary types to feed our more aggressive specimens. Surely I can simply let the carnivores hunt down their own meals much of the time, but this is a close habitat. We don't intervene to fill the bellies on occasion. The delicate equilibrium between predator and prey will come crashing down. Thank you for helping to maintain this balance. Did you get it? Did you get bagged that goblin? Oh, place a score. You see, I've been assigned to evaluate the dietary claims of a work entitled Goblin Cuisine, and had been about to prepare my first dish. How will it taste? Is it even edible? You, my friend, have made it possible for me to answer such questions. Thank you for your contribution to culinary science. Now let's go check out this mine. Ugh. Always important to remain hydrated. Especially when you're talking a lot. Anything here? North Rest. Oh, right. This is in the building. Nope. The Meat Circuit, which Envil mentioned, is a tier directly below us. Like the lowest level of Labyrthos is rigid security. One can usually roam the middle layer quite freely. Let's see what we might find. I took a peek inside, but it's awfully dark in there. I never would have noticed this cave on my own. Thank the scholar that Envil knew of it, and well, that you were there to persuade him to share. This must be it, the entrance to the mine shaft. It's fate, but I hear something moving within. Creatures homed there by the researchers, you think? Well, slaving beasts aside, we'll need to watch our footing. We should tighten our straps and such before we continue. Assuming everyone's tightened their straps and checked their gear, then I say we should head on in. Into the rain ahead, though, I might be wise to leave some distance between us. We don't want to be stumbling over each other if it comes to a fight. Take it slow, don't forget to check your surroundings from time to time. We can meet up here on the other end of the tunnel. Any ethers in here? Southeast. Yep, one would be in here. Down there. Force a habit. I should take it off for now. Put that there. Northwest? Huh. Must be below. There it is. The mineshaft was infested with mythocaps, some sort of research project, I wonder? Well, as they are most unusual creatures, why did it develop such long limbs when all they do is shuffle about narrow tunnels? Krile, did you know Krile almost took a tumble back there? She can't possibly still be dizzy from the lift. I was being careful, I swear. The slope was steeper than I thought, and I lost my footing for a moment, so I'm not injured if you don't count my pride. Everyone seems to have made it through without incident. Nothing of consequences, at least. And as promised, the tunnel has delivered us to the Bedell circuit. As I recall, this tier is where they keep a wide variety of samples for agricultural production. If Aaronville's assumption is true, the specimens are being collected in preparation for the Great Migration. Then we should see evidence of such plans in the area research projects. Let's follow the path to the nearest farming facility and see what we see. Be up there somewhere. Aha! Now I know where we are. This is Milo's economics. Labyrthos is host to a wide variety of vegetation, which allows us to conduct studies on cultivation methods utilized in foreign lands. And it is this facility which coordinates and oversees these efforts. The fruits of their research go to feed the Labyrthos colleagues who also are here. More notable successes might make it to the Agora. Fruits so exotic, you'd be hard-pressed to guess their origins, let alone how they might taste. Indeed, mystery vegetables without a name, only a list of nutritional benefits scribbled on the card. I see no greeners hereabouts, yet these workers seem to share that same sense of urgency. It's possible they know something of the Fallen's plans and their underlying motivations. Worth looking into, wouldn't you say? See what you can coax from the workers. The rest of us will do the same or cast about for useful crews. Should we run around here? Off rest. Down there. That was a bad call. Quick. Rats. What crops are we raising? Well, as you can see, this one is a variety of grape. Only needs a good source of sunlight to grow, and the conditions here are nothing short of perfect. Highly surprising given that it's native to a particular local in a fairy place upon which Labyrthos was modeled, a region to the south of Isabad. It boasts remarkable habitat diversity, allowing for Madrid, flora, and fauna to thrive. Showy peaks to the north give way to swaths of temperature plains, which in turn transition into a hot, humid coastline. Such plentiful territory is even contested. As you might expect, used to be called Kovos before the Imperials renamed it to Locos Amanos. The form saw as a prize, however, as a researcher's ideal environment, one whose climate we strove to recreate within the confines of Labyrinthos, it's since provided a rich foundation of countless experiments in cultivation. Do I have a lot to be taken down below? More than I can carry, and then some? Most of our stock is sent off to the cargo lift, but some have been earmarked for aerial transportation, hence the stack of crates on top of the hill over there. Guards holding the lot up the slope was a job and a half. Oh, hello there. We weren't expecting visitors. Not with use of the lift being restricted. How did you make it down here anyway? The mine shaft, you say? Well, you're a much hardier soul than I. Under normal circumstances, I reward such tenacity with a guided tour of the fields. But I'm afraid the form has us feeling orders this mile long. Massive detailed requests, little wagon loads of crop samples, and hardly any time to put them together. When I first heard of this grand reorganization, I assumed we would be shuffling around old stock to make room for new. Then came the orders for ridiculous quantities of seed we've already thoroughly researched. Passing strange, eh? I pressed for the explanation and was met with vague assurances that all would be reviewed in due course. Not the most satisfying answer. Notes on the crates tell the story of contents, bundles of common seeds and saplings, accompanied by sheaves of reports. White flowers, huh? Idolin, is that you?
Hard to look away, isn't it? But they're more than pretty flowers. Heart blooms are attuned to ambient emotion. You don't seem convinced, but believe me, it's true. This ashen grey, for instance, it mirrors the anxiety and urgency of those working nearby as they rush to fulfill sudden orders. Intense feelings like those spur the petals to change colour. Bright glowing hues in the presence of joy. Dark, subdued shades for frustration or despair. Yet even with the collected wisdom of Charlian at our disposal, we've yet to identify the underlying principle of this empathic effect. And there are other mysteries besides. Although the flower is extraordinarily long-lived, its low reproductive rate has made it difficult to find younger populations growing in the wild. With too few sightings to map its distribution, and no closely related species to track. We've been unable to pinpoint its land of origin. To further complicate matters, every culture, even dimly aware of its existence, has given it a different name and mythos. Our attempts to study it via the historical record have been an exercise in frustration. As an avid botanist myself, I should one day like to unravel the Heartbloom's secrets. But I'm afraid other duties must take precedence. I will leave you to your thoughts.
Bye, mysterious stranger.
Have you learned aught of interest? A flower that reacts to one's feelings. Strange. I must say, I have never heard of such a thing.
She has.
This is all very fascinating. But as it stands, we fail to gain any significant insight into the Forum's undertaking.
Indeed. While there is certainly enough activity to support Erenvil's supposition that a priority has been placed on improving food production, unfortunately for our investigation, these workers were never informed as to how their duties serve the master plan.
If only we could interrogate the Forum members directly. Isn't that the entrance to the Archaean? Look, there. I think that's Erenville.
A little difficult to tell from here, but I think you're right. He did say he was coming down to make his report.
Erenville receives his orders from the Forum. Would it not follow, then, that the superior to whom he reports is a Forum member, or at least a close associate?
You mean to eavesdrop on their conversation? What of the risks?
Ours alone to bear. We won't interfere with Erenville's work, nor will he be implicated as an accomplice. If you're not comfortable taking part, I can do this alone.
Nay. I said myself that I wished to know Father's intentions. And no answers will be forthcoming should we simply ask nicely.
We can apologize later, should it come to it. Right now, we need every crumb of information we can get our hands on. Consequences be damned.
It might be best if you came along as well. In fact, we should all...
Krile?
Krile?
Oh, Krile.
Oh, yes. That certainly sounds like a plan.
I'm glad you agree.
Quickly! Erenville is on the move. We need to get closer before we lose him.
I can almost reach you.
Okay, Krile, you're scaring everyone. Is Krile still feeling unwell? I never seen her so distracted. Keep an eye on her, but keep moving too. You cannot let our brewery slip away. Erenville was headed westwards along the path outside the Archaeon. Come, we can still catch him. Wonder, the next Ether gonna be around here? Yep. Hold a moment, I have an idea. The memory serves that colossal roll-like structure is Logicstricon Beta, one of Labyrinthos' climate control centers. It should have its own lifts, with which one could access the upper or lower tiers. If we're an agent of the form, we would make for a convenient meeting place. But even if we happen to find Aaronville and the company offset agent, we cannot expect them to reveal issues of importance as we nonchalantly stroll past. Nay, we shall have to remain undetected. Only Graha and his Spanish spell were here. Oh, but there is other ways of turning invisible. Maybe hop my doodle toads? Goodness! Store, what have you done? You turned them into frogs? You turned me into a frog! Accustomed to transfiguration, worry not, it will wear off with the passage of time. I suggest you and your green companions hop along and catch up with Aaronville. Should you feel the magic's fading, return to me and I will refresh the attachment. And what am I supposed to do in the meantime? Be here with me. In your current state of mind, you'll be likely to leap into the jaws of a predator, as you would learn anything of note. Which reminds me, where the creatures are about, in that form, you are essentially defenseless. You are changed into a toad. You must remain transfigured in order to progress with quest objectives. You'll return to your transfigured status if you move too far away. Look to your map for the transfiguration's area of effect. Restore to restore or prolong to... Okay. Ribbit. For toad and not for toad. Okay. Now to journey as a frog. Guessing this square here is supposed to indicate where we can or can't. Guess we can't talk to that. Be funny though. Oh, back there. Wait, you mean we could have walked south the whole time? Adventures of Victoria the Frog and Company.
I trust you will find your compensation to be more than satisfactory. We wish to make clear that we are pleased with the efficiency and thoroughness of your work. So much so that we have come bearing new tasks in need of your competent hand.
Another lengthy list. If I may speak frankly, the Gleaners have been pushed to the point of collapse by your unending demands. We are not familiars to be exploited. We are Sharlayan scholars, and we deserve an explanation for this unseemly treatment. What warrants such urgency?
In an age long past, Sharlayan was charged with a momentous duty. And now that word of the final days hangs heavy in the air, the time has come for us to fulfill that charge. I can say no more, but I promise you this. All will be revealed in due course. And when it has, you will understand that your toil was in service to the greatest good.
Then I will do your bidding. For now. But unless you wish the Gleaners to rise up in protest, I advise you to offer tangible improvements for our working conditions. Your promised revelation does nothing to address present circumstances.
A fair point. Your concerns will be conveyed to the Forum.
I hope that was informative. You may consider my debt to you repaid in full.
Ah, great, he knew. A busted run.
I do have my reservations about the Forum. I want to believe that they have our best interests at heart. Which is why I'm reassured that you're busy sniffing out the truth of things. We can ill afford to place all our eggs in one basket, this master plan of theirs, without first understanding the risks involved.
Wait! How did you know it was us?
If you mean to impersonate a toad, try studying the real thing. And don't try to fool an expert.
He's got you there. A total performance needs works, apparently. I have to pay more attention next time I see one. I suppose we should have known a gleaner would specialize in animal procurement and would not be so easily deceived. Yet we seem inclined to put his trust in us all the same. More importantly, perhaps we discovered a new piece of the puzzle. This momentous duty the Forum agent mentioned. Sharlayan has been called into action, and the Tefroy Declaration was the catalyst. Whatever charge it is that the hope to fulfill, they deem of its significant import to disrupt all of Labyrthos, not to mention Nora Orosi's request for aid. We're having a cross path for Erinfield, and I'd like to thank him properly. What duty could warrant the direct involvement of the Forum and the commitment of all its resources? Judging by what we just heard, none of the Gleaners were offered any kind of explanation. At this point, it seems abundantly clear that we will learn nothing new by pressing them further. We should head back to the store and Krile for the moment. Let's see what they think of this. God, there's even more quests there. And one of them is probably going to be another flight ether. That's great. funny how normal the forest seems now. As a toad, it was also much more ominous and threatening. Where's Krile? Welcome back. I trust you found Erenville then. Interesting. I had a feeling you would have learned something important, even if that was something you simply a confirmation that no one knows much of anything. You should share this with Krile, then discuss how we should like to proceed. When we find her back at the farm, she was still behaving oddly, though I bade her return and rest there. Perhaps not the best decision in hindsight. Would you mind checking near the flowers she was on trance with? The rest of us can survey the more distant area, just in case she decided to wander. Should probably pick this one up. Oh dearie me. My sweetest Shaggles, one of the Archeon's precious samples, has read. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? My apologies. I'm Norelhai Taia, an archivist. The Archeon is home of various samples collected from all across the stars, and one such specimen had just escaped. Young troll, to be specific, or I hope it hasn't been set upon by the local predators. Listen, I promise to compensate you, so could you please help me retrieve the specimen? My thanks. I will continue my search of this area. I'd like you to check the 33rd facet. Once you have a comprehensive look about, please meet me at the Archeon to report your findings. Do that a bit later. I'm supposed to check the flowers up here.
For you. The spell will keep it from wilting. She said you would need it for the journey ahead. Will you speak with her now? I cannot hope to match Minfilia's clarity, of course, but...
Thank you. Do not worry. She has lent me her body for only a moment. Just as I could not save the first from the flood of light, it has become arduous for me to interact with the physical world without assistance.
You're literally on the boat a while ago.
Though I might converse with you for a time, the incorporeal form I assumed on the ship would be incapable of casting even the simplest enchantment. It is in the depths of the ethereal sea, the place to which all life returns, where my influence is greatest. After Minfilia's sacrifice on the first, it was to the sea, here in the source, where I ferried her soul. I wished that gentle spirit to find rest in the world she loved so well. Her, and another who may yet have a part to play. though that will depend on you. Take the flower. Walk free, for you are free to go where you wish, to believe what you will. That bloom will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. In darkness, seek joy. Surrender not to sadness, and see beyond despair. Walk free, and bear the light for others to follow. Together, raise it aloft and let it shine, till the end, blinding and radiant.
That was all too brief. Already she seems so far away. My apologies if I startled you. Ever since we began our descent into Labyrinthos, I had sensed another's will, straining to reach out. Even with my particular talents, though, I was unable to make a connection at first. So weak and tenuous it was. Once I took hold of that wispy thread. Imagine my surprise to discover it was Heidelin herself. Needless to say, it seemed wise to learn what we could before letting go. Her answers were more cryptic than I would have liked, but at least she left us with a guide of sorts. That unusual flower. Yes, we are definitely making progress.
You can't be serious! We've done nothing wrong!
Uh-oh.
Master Fortuno? What business has the Forum with us?
Obstruction and suppression, apparently.
Mistress Baldessian, our records show you facilitated the Scions' entrance into Sharlayan by claiming them as assistants for your organization. We are aware of your investigations. After alerting the major institutions to the presence of potential troublemakers, we received word from an Archean custodian, a group operating under the auspices of the students, skulking about Labyrinthos and engaging in clandestine behavior.
Clandestine? We may not have entered Sharlayan as Scions, but we did naught to conceal our identities. Our only purpose in this city is to seek the truth. I can think of no reason why our actions should warrant the Forum's intervention.
'Tis not our way to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, but the timing of such pursuits must be considered, not to mention their potential impact. With the world in chaos, we, the true caretakers of wisdom, have committed ourselves to an undertaking that demands the utmost discretion.
Yeah, you're good caretaker, alright? You excelled your children. How dare you claim yourself a caretaker?
And we will
I'm a
not
better
risk
caretaker.
success by turning a blind eye to disruptive foreign elements in our midst.
What then is to be our fate? Will you put us on a ship back to Eorzea?
The Forum will convene to examine your case. The results of said inquiry will determine your future in this city. As for your absent companion, he has already been detained.
Grah! But why? Is reading a crime now, too?
Reading is encouraged, celebrated even. Not, however, of the volumes shelved in the restricted section of the library.
Refusing to comply will only make matters worse. Let us instead treat this as an opportunity to open a dialogue with the Forum.
Very well.
Silence is often one's best defense. I would advise against prolonging the proceedings with frivolous discourse. But enough. This is not the place for debate. The rostra await.
By the way, can I submit forms to legally adopt your children? Did you exile them? Because I tell you, I defended them more than you ever did. Let's hope this doesn't end with a trial by combat. Well, I welcome it. I'll kick everyone's asses in here.
Forgive me. I was careless.
We would have been detained regardless. This way, at least, we managed to stay together. I trust your time within the Forbidden Archives was well spent.
The forum will come to order. This inquiry is now in session. As Speaker-elect, I will be presiding over the day's proceedings. Master Fortuner, would you be so kind as to restate the matter which compelled you to summon your colleagues with such urgency?
As you are all aware, we recently denied Eorzea's request for Sharlayan assistance. Since then, certain individuals dissatisfied with our decision have taken it upon themselves to interfere with our work. They entered our nation masquerading as associates of the students of Baldessian. But these malcontents are better known as the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
Did you just take your hoodie off? Every day you see that.
These militants wield influence with both the Eorzean and Eastern alliances, and are inextricably involved with the crises presently afflicting the world at large. Loose in our city, these warmongers sought to meddle with and expose matters of state secret. What are they, if not a dire threat to be expelled?
You have tarnished the good name of the students. Galuf would be ashamed.
Galuf Baldessian was never one to forsake his fellow man. Even if this nation closed every door and retreated from the world, he would have found a way to help the Scions, help every soul of this star fight back against the coming doom.
A terrible enemy stands poised to lay waste to all we hold dear. In the face of such madness, Eorzea reached out to Sharlayan, a respected ally, in the hopes of forming a united front. Was your curt dismissal truly the best you could offer? Or are you so preoccupied with your momentous duty of an age long past that even the end of the world is unworthy of your attention?
Whence came this revelation?
From the mouth of a forum member within fortuitous earshot.
Then it seems your findings support my own. The reason I visited the restricted shelves was to study records of the forum's policy-making process, to better understand the historical trends underlying their most major decisions. At first glance, the positions of neutrality in war and the accumulation of knowledge above all else appear constant and consistent. the unchanging pillars of Sharlayan society. And once upon a time, I might have left it at that. These days, however, I am more attuned to the subtleties of governance, and so I noticed something odd. From a particular point in time, the purpose of these policies shifted. No longer was knowledge preserved for the benefit of society. Rather, society was to be gradually reshaped to ensure the preservation of knowledge. The most conspicuous and telling change was the one which befell Labyrinthoss. Once little more than an oversized storehouse, an enormous allocation of funds saw it transformed into an advanced research and archival facility. I also discovered a fascinating account on the finances of our Dravanian colony. The settlement attracted students from far and wide, and the connections and tuition fees thus acquired were funneled into further improvements for the archives. Now, there is no question that our nation's progress is tied to the acquisition of wisdom. Nevertheless, the vast resources diverted for this purpose borders on the obscene. But returning to the matter of when, our change in course appears to have been made some 270 years ago.
The very same period when Sharlayan scholars in the hinterlands began a formal study of the ethereal sea. You found something, did you not? And whatever it was, gave rise to your oh-so-important duty.
Mind your tongue, Archon. If you had seen...
What the?
Yes, we are bound by a duty we cannot ignore. Knowing this, what would you have us do? Abandon our vital work and join you on the field of battle?
You should.
We will never choose the way of the sword. We will fulfill our mission, not through strife and bloodshed, but survival.
Who says you need to come in as a sword wielder? You're sages, are you not?
Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must, then. But we Scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Such misguided zeal.
Father, Master Fortuner, I fail to understand the stance you have elected to take. But by the same token, I have yet to find a compelling argument to counter the challenge you put to us in Gridania. Still, in the midst of my uncertainty, I must trust in myself to do what is right, as others have chosen to trust in me. So I will continue, as I always have, weighing the consequences of my every action, and allowing my hope for the future to inform my decisions.
That's quite enough. Have you all forgotten the reason for this assembly?
Skolok Monteshane. He's the head of the Studium and an old friend of my grandfather's.
Honestly, every discussion devolves into some interminable debate. Terrible habit. Let's return to the topic at hand, By their own admission, these Scions have resolved to fight alongside the Eorzean nations against the doom which swift approaches. But there exists no evidence of an attempt to incite our citizens to do the same. Furthermore, while our decision may well have been the correct one, We cannot simply bull our way through these disagreements without inviting doubts or objections. Put yourselves in their place. Who among you would leave a tome unopened if an elder forbid you read it with no reason given? No. If we're to quell further discontent, then we must conclude this matter with a fair and even hand.
We will have order! Master Montaigne raises some valid points. Keeping such concerns in mind, I propose we enforce the following measures. Until further notice, the students of Baldesion are to cease any and all activities within the domain of Sharlian. You will also refrain from any further investigation into the Forum's decisions and duties. Failure to comply with these restrictions will result in the immediate expulsion of your Scion associates. Let us put this judgment to a vote. All in favor, raise your hand.
Who's counting? You can't count the ones behind you.
Count 51 for and 48 against. The proposal is passed. Students, Scions, you have heard the Forum's judgment. Pray abide by it, or face the consequences. Honored members, I thank you for your time. This inquiry is concluded.
Funny, everyone had a hat except for that Fiera in the background. Well, at least we've been allowed to remain in the city, and our endless investigations have not been in vain. We now know that mysterious duty of theirs began with whatever the Forum discovered in the Ethereal Sea. Our freedom so sorely curtailed it. However, we will struggle to learn more of substance here in Sharlian. Ugh. Well, I've been streaming for about 3 hours. I think I'm gonna call it here. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and till next time, folks. See ya.